All right, so we haven't done one of these in a while, but there's a bunch of things that I need to still complete as part of the um, form library that I want to build with Vue 3. Come a long way, built out a lot of things, tested some stuff, played around. And now a few more components that I want to add following the refactoring that we did the last time. Text area, I still don't have a text area. And I want to play a little bit with the slider in Vue form. And then I realized that the vValidate form component that we're using also has initial values. Let's say you're getting an object from the server or from wherever, and you want to pre-populate that in the form. And we haven't really played around with that. So I'm not sure whether any of the code that I did previously works well with initial values. So I want to test each of those components with initial values. And then maybe I want to play with Storybook. I wanted to do server validation. Maybe I'll never get to doing XState because I'm fairly happy with how this is turning out. But let's see if we can get to Storybook, or maybe this is enough for today. Let's see. Let me increase the size a little bit. Okay. And let's go. So I want to add a text area. I already have a input, and I can fashion this alongside that. Let me just start the server, which I haven't done. All right, there we go. Server's up. It's saying I don't have to import define props because the server has it. I don't think I have to really change that here, but I might if I find the file. Maybe do that now, whatever, you know. Oops. Oh, well, I see it here. Import define props. And I can just get rid of that. And hopefully that makes my server happy. And what's this? Icon GG spinner. Okay, I thought I had committed that previously. That's fine. Okay. So I want to build out. So I'm going to copy Fab input maybe and play around a little bit with it, and then see if I can get a text area. And then in my app view, see if I can get something there. I have a bunch of multi-selects here. I don't think I need all of them, but I think that's fine. You know what will happen is if we ever get to Storybook, then I'll have these representations there and I'll be happy. So I'll just go ahead and maybe, yeah, even below the toggle, really. Have text area, and it's not going to have a value true. Blog post, let's just say the blog post. And let me see what a Fab input looks like, just so I can. Nothing really, just a name is enough for me to have a proper thing here. So it doesn't like, what does it not like? Invalid end tag. So yeah, that makes sense. So let me just fix that up. And I have a text field. I want it to be a text error. Let's see what error this is. What is this? Property name is missing in type placeholder. So it wants me to pass in a name, which I I guess I prevented doing the last time in my refactoring, but a name is required. Maybe I can make a name optional, which is a bit weird. So this leaves me in this odd spot, which I didn't notice last time, is because I'm magically getting in the name. Maybe I can just say, okay, look, name is required. And if there's a way to refactor this later on, I can do that. And I can pass in the name explicitly. And I'll maybe do that in some of the other components where I removed it. Not too thrilled about that, but I think that's not a big deal. Okay. I'm going to take a look at Fab Select as well, because in Fab Select, we used this as to change the type of the field itself. But I don't know if that messes up this stuff here, but let's see. So is it just as simple as me saying as text area? Obviously, this is not reactive. And now I get my text area here. And if I type something out, and let's take a look at the submit output. Yeah, I mean, that's it really. So nothing to it. And I've just stolen the styles from the text field. And that's probably good enough for now. All right, we have a text area. And then the other thing I wanted to do was maybe play around with the view forms slider component. And again, let's take a look at what else ViewForm offers us from their open source components. Multi-select, slider, toggle. That seems to be sort of the key ones. So I'm fairly happy with that. And maybe I can copy, oops, maybe I can find toggle and copy that into slider. And now I have a starting point, and probably need to import this. Let's see if there's any. So I need to import it, and then I gotta get these styles. Okay, and instead of toggle, I don't know if the usage will just be just as simple as this. I could just say slider. And maybe that's it. I'll probably need to play with, because toggle probably doesn't have a label after or input wrapper classes. So let me see in usage what this will look like. Maybe we could just get toggle and make fab slider instead. Value true is not legit. Let me maybe start the value at 30 because it is, and the name can be, I don't know, with or something. All right, I see an error. View model must be a number. And I wonder whether there's something I've done here. So the definition needs to be a number. And I guess I don't know if I've done anything here to imply that it's a string. I might need to say, I wanted to say type number here, but I can't do that because it's hidden. Okay, so let me see if must be a number or array, right? Because you can do arrays as well. So it's very much like a multi-select, but with a number. V model must be a number, but I guess I've said V model is value. I mean, here in the slider, I can definitely get rid of this. And value, what have I done with? Okay, that's fine. I have a value ref, and I guess I can initialize it at 0. That indicates that this is this is a number. That seemed to have been enough to help that, but now I'm left with this odd thing here where the design is not correct. I don't need to do this label after stuff, and I don't need to do the input wrapper stuff. And now this is starting to look a bit more like what I would have wanted. I don't have to do this height width business either. I don't think there's anything rounded here. I don't need a border. I don't even need this. I don't think I need anything because all the styles are now coming in from but I guess it always shows the width like that. I guess so. That makes sense. And maybe I can just indicate here that this will be a number or number array. And can I just leave it undefined? No, it really wants it to be a number. I don't want to pre-populate it, but maybe I have to. Because I did say value is 30 here, and I guess in a sense I want that to be picked up. Bound to this and then applied here. Did that work when I said 0? That did not work when I said 0. So ideally this would have been 30 to start because we said value is 30. But that's not gonna, actually that's not where it's gonna come from. It's gonna come from this with the value anyway. Maybe now I can quickly just test out the idea of initial values. So theoretically, I should be able to say initial values, and these will be populated in the form based on what I have here. And so I suppose I could say like first name is person. And if I go up here, this should have been populated with person, very fresh. And that is not the case because I have misspelled it. But also it's not the case because I'm not getting that value popping up here. First name, person. No, that 100% did not work. Location is tee. And none of that is liked. I misspelled that. So definitely initial values, that would make a difference. Maybe that is it. And that was it. Luckily, I don't have to like debug something hard here. I'm going to test this out with each one of the fields here. So maybe I can just split this into 2 so I can keep track. Bold color and make this green. Okay, so that works. I just had to come out here and refresh. Just old color. And let's make this red. And that doesn't work. So it worked on the select. It didn't work on the multi-select. So something for me to fix. And I trust that if I do the same for colors, that I'm going to get the same result. So for colors, let's say I said, red and green. I don't expect this to be like, hey, two are selected here. It's not. Or the tags to show up in this case. I mean, I think it would have been great if it just worked by magic, right? I'm like, ugh, I have to debug this. Terms of agreement. I'm not getting my autocomplete popping up, but fine. Let's make this true by default. Come out and refresh here. That did work. And let me just test out the false. Yeah. Okay. Right, next I got light, which is also Boolean. I don't expect this to work because, again, it's a multi-select-like component that I've pulled in. And indeed, it does not work. So at least, that'll be some interesting debugging. And then with here, again, if I, come in here and be like 30, and later I want to change that number to something else that I expect it not to work. Blog post, I do expect to work. Oops. I need eggs. That works. And then there is also this, which is the array, so companies, and then settings our company name and location within companies, which is a good test. So companies, which should be an array, and I'll just go with one object in the array, setting, and then company name. Name incorporated. And I also want a location, and this can be La La Land, right? And if I come around here and I refresh, that's pre-populated, which is great. So which means that stuff is functional. So everything works when I use the basic values. It doesn't work when I use an external component. So it works when I use sort of basic HTML components. It doesn't work here. And I wonder if it would have worked if there was like just a hidden field. So that's what I'm going to test first. I'm going to test out the hidden field thing first. And I don't think I made a hidden field. So, okay, so let's go into toggle, which uses hidden here. And let's use fab input. I'm just trying to think of sort of the multiple fields I have. I have checkbox, which I can use as a guide because this is typed here. So I will say fab hidden. And add this to app view. And I guess when I do initially, I expect to see that you don't need this type checkbox and checkbox. So maybe I just pop in. I don't even need this because it's literally hidden. Just call it hidden as well. And In this case, it will appear as a checkbox. And I don't really need a label. Well, that's interesting, right? Because I've implied there's this whole wrapper around it, which in earnest I don't need, but it's here. Maybe it could just be hidden. Huh. So label here, I can probably just say false. So there is no label to be had. And I need wrapper classes. This could be hidden. I don't need the other classes. Can I do that? Okay. And then here, maybe I can add a value. What did I do here? Oh yeah, okay. I can't use these. I thought they would autocorrect themselves, but because I'm in view, I can't do that. So now when I submit my form, must be a valid email. Let me actually make that a valid email. Submit, everything pops up, and I do get hidden value. So that just means that the hidden value is being set in the form, which makes me suspect that the hidden value is being set in these toggles as well. And so maybe I do want to get an idea of what is populated in the field. Right off the bat. And the value is false, even though I've said light is true here. Maybe at some level is just being pre-populated as a certain value. And of course, these didn't work either. So there's some kind of populating of the value that I need to do. Just trying to run through my head to see how I would indicate that to this component. Because I'm not even, I'm not getting anything from anywhere. Let's say I remove this and it is purely a field. If I refresh, it is true now. If I undo that and I save and I refresh, it is false. So I wonder if this is happening because my hidden tag is after this. It isn't. I really wish that was the case. That would have been cool. Okay, so no, that's not the case. But so I mean, when I get rid of this, it does retain the value, which means my hidden field is, and which means at some point this fella here is overriding the value. So let's go into view form toggle and see if there's anything in the docs that give us a clue as to how we can, I don't know, pre-populate preset of value or something. We're not really using any of these, interestingly enough. It's like, because I assume toggle maybe creates a hidden value of its own. perhaps. Let's see if it does. It's a checkbox that's display none, where it's ID and everything you just set to toggle. So it'll be part of the form. And I wonder why they did that. I wonder why they went, the display none route. I mean, it doesn't really change what I'm doing here because I don't think there's a toggle value in my form when I submit. Unless I missed it. All these are coming from the reactive values of the form component. So let's see if there's something else here. On change, emits when it's changed, label vModel, vModel coming from the value, or vModel being set as the value that's passed in. Label off value, true value, false value. So for us, in a regular checkbox, and in this case, I've said, value equals true here. And maybe that can be a prop that I have where you say, value is. In this case, I've said Boolean, but maybe it could be Boolean or string. And it can be Boolean or a string, just even in the way this is working. And then I can set that here, which is at least a true value anyway, because that's what I'll pass, and maybe later on there could be a false value as well, and maybe that functionality can apply to the checkbox too. So I got my true value here, and let's do this, and let's make this value or true by default, I suppose, right? If none is set. So true value is false, then what are you going to do? But let's just keep it as this. Or no, let's say, hey, no, you gotta pass in a true value. Like, what are you doing? And in this case, this doesn't work still. Like, value is false here, but this is this is always on now. Fantastic. See, turn to true, and now I can't turn it off. It is happening here, but this component is not. It's like it's not having it. Do I have to have a false value? If I give you a true value, is that like mandatory? Like you need both of them? I'm just going to do that now to test. Yeah, I mean, you can see the value toggling here, but this won't click. Oh, yeah, what a mess. Okay. ID name. whether it should be disabled, whether it's required. And a bunch of classes, which is nice. If you're going to pass in Tailwind or whatever. There isn't anything that's popping out here at me that says, oh yeah, like that's it. Unless I have to, no, that doesn't make sense. I do have a V model value. And I think the last time I did something weird, right? Like, what if I didn't have a V model value for the sake of whatever argument or whatever, and this was field.value. For example, how would this be? So now when I refresh, the value is true. I still can't seem to change it. Well, I got rid of the click. But let me get rid of these things now. And refresh here. And now this is like hooked to true again. Weird. I don't know if that's making any difference. No, you got to test everything just in case. So all this clicking is not doing anything here. And if I was to make this false to start, this is false. So now it is reading the initial value. That is working as we would have wanted. But now I can't toggle it. Maybe because field.value can't be, like, it's not a modifiable thing. I'm trying to see if some errors would pop up. They did not. Can I do something like this? Can I destructure it like that? Oh, that's not gonna work at all. Because I do need to like rebind field all the way on this hidden input. And that won't change. Okay, so this is Fab toggle. Let me just get rid of everything here. And save this again, refresh. And now coming in clean, right? I'm getting that toggling functionality. See, I guess that's the partially annoying thing is we went through all of this when we built out this component, but I never realized or never thought about the initial value business, right? What if this was on the outside? And I don't know why or how or what, Okay, I know, it just, can't be nowhere. What if it was totally on the outside, like that? Like it's just there somewhere. Okay, so this is complaining about fragments and this and that because I have two top level components here and doesn't like it. Also, it doesn't know where to pass in the adders when they come in, which is fair. So this is fair also, because really I do want to position my component in this space, right? So that's all of that is fair. So I'm holding the value in a V model. Fab field is this, and I'm getting, I wonder if there's other values that vvalidate will give me. And maybe some solution lies here. Okay, let's take a look at yeah, it's the field component, and we're trying to see what it'll give us in a V slot. There's a value in the V slot. And so this might sign. I knew about the V slot field, where we V bind the entire field. Okay, so okay. Just trying to look at the slots. It's telling us meta errors value. But you know that's not true, because it's hold on, sorry, my brain is all over the place right now. So if I search for handle change here, will I find it in the logs here? Yeah, I do here. Okay, so field and then field out value, blah 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 blah. But it's also giving us, okay, that's fine. It's also giving its value. So maybe that's the play, which is instead of having this value here, we don't have a V model. This is unfortunate here, for sure. But maybe we can mess around with that a little bit to see how we can manage that. So it doesn't like the V model here because they're not writable. Can I be used to restyle refresh script variables? Let's just see how. You should not use it as a target of V model or value binding. Instead, use. So just for conditionals. Yeah, I really was hoping that this would be the thing that makes it work. So read only, unfortunately. Trying to see if there are any others here that could give us a clue as to what's going on. Initial value and field meta. The field's initial value. So can I get the meta here and then add that somewhere? But there's no indication anywhere of like, I can't just set it because it's not in the code. That's unfortunate. Unchecked value is the one where it's like the false value, I guess. The field's initial value, optional as long as field type is not checkbox or radio. In this case, it is kind of. Okay, well, again, the change is not happening now once I've used field.value. So it worked fine when I used value, which was kind of a representative. And here it says, oh, let me see if it gives us hints on what we can use. Don't use it with vmodel or your input would freeze. Yeah, okay. So I can't do anything. I can't pass in, like I have to have a third vmodel. We went through this the last time. But maybe I need a good refresher. So saying, yeah, hey, don't do this, do this. As, you know, vbind field will take care of the rest. So we're just thinking here. Don't do this, field bind. So how do default values pop in here? So it's already told me to, hey, don't do this because, you know, things aren't gonna, it's gonna freeze. Therefore I made my own. But when I make my own, there's no real way of me like I can't really have a way validate on mount. There's no way for me to kind of populate that value with an initial value. Because even the initial value is coming in through here. Like it's not external. And this makes things a tad bit difficult. You can bind it with value prop on your inputs to sync both values. So, I mean, this should be enough. Like I shouldn't have to do this, right? Like, but let's see if that does anything for us. I can't do this, obviously. Which means then I gotta, you know, I gotta go around and bring everything back. So let's get everything back. And then let's do this so that I was kind of somewhere here. And now what have I done? I'm probably missing something. Probably not the right stage of undos. So yeah, I can't just grab value here because it's my value now. So now I got the toggle working, of course, because I'm using my own value, but that initial value is no longer populating. Really wish there was a... Oh. Yeah, I mean... Wish there was something I could pass in here that says, hey, like... But again, I think everything is working. Because now the value is true here. But my value is not true. That's probably why this is happening, right? Okay. All right. So I might have to go down a complicated route here. So this is something I wasn't expecting. Do I have to do like a, hey, if values changed kind of business? Let me just take a look at the hidden field that this component has and whether there's anything to be discovered here. And so value is true to begin. So that has the initial value has been set. But that value doesn't, like that doesn't get into our value, which then means our V model value isn't true, but then how come this is true? So our field.value is true, but our V model is not. Let me just take a look at how Fab Field is using field and whether there's something to be had here. ID, name, validate on blur, not. I don't suppose if I did this first, that would make any difference. Well, I'm gonna have to undo this. And it shouldn't make any difference. So sorry, I'm just reading the docs here to see if there's something here that I can extract and use in one way or another. Okay, so it says, hey, the field component has partial support for native blah. While it picks up the multiple values correctly, it doesn't set the initial values. I see it on the element. You may use vModel. or bind the selected attributes on the options, which is straightforward. Value prop exposed. Just saying, hey, based on the value, you do this kind of a thing. That will set the initial value. If it says something like as select and have multiple. There's no way for us to set it on our toggle field. So let's see. Okay, fine. Let's go on view form multi-select to see if there's some initial value business here. There doesn't seem to be. So we're in the same boat for both of these. Okay. Okay. I'm going to try a couple things, which probably won't. I actually don't think I'll be able to solve this without a chunk more time. No, that won't work. I was thinking maybe I could do something like, all right, let me test this in steps. Okay, well, there's no changes here, so I can get rid of that. And really, nothing much has changed here. And I don't really have access to the initial value here. I don't know if this does quite what I wanted to. Probably belongs here anyway, if at all. Okay, so now I'm in a condition where, okay, it is working because I'm using my value ref here, but the initial value is not nowhere to be found. So what if on the toggle, I had an active V model here that says true. Okay, sorry, so this can't be a, so let's say like value, and then let me make that. So this is true, this is still false. And I don't think that's even doing anything, right? Because, but then in here I'd have to come back in here and define a model value. And maybe that's what I should do, shouldn't I? Like this should have a model value. But I don't know if this like would make a difference. So view 3 script setup model value. Let's see how that business is handled in script setup. I would have thought this would have indicated it here somewhere. Okay, maybe go back and take a look at this here. That might give us a in script setup. That's specifically that what I want. Okay, so I just and then have to emit the value. Whenever it updates, which means I would have to hook it up to this toggle. So maybe like any add change needs to toggle into that. That makes sense. So if I did that, and is it a string? It's, what is it? In a toggle, it's, Boolean or string, I guess I'm doing this in order to avoid kind of having a ref that I manage within the object. And then it somehow gets managed externally. So I have my emit. Do I need to import this? It doesn't seem like it wants me to import it. And it finds it, so that's fine. Okay, so maybe I don't need to say. So I'll leave this probably here. This can't be model value either. So maybe I do need to manage mine internally. Right, and that way I can, okay, so then I do need to manage my own internally. That was a lie. But, this seems way more complicated than I would have wanted it to be. But okay, fine. I mean, let's. And then interestingly enough, maybe this can be model value, which is the initial value. Yeah, but it's not, that won't work. That's not, I don't think this is doing anything for us. Yeah, I don't think this is doing anything for us. And I can have a watch to see if there's a change here, and then I can emit. I should have a watch somewhere, I believe. I went in Fab button. See, I would do something like this here, which is fine. Like, this is all fine. And I can just emit. Something like that. Like I think this will do something actually. So now this is true to start, um, because in app, oops. So it does something, but it doesn't solve the entire problem. So I have light value coming in here, and because I'm getting that model value in here, it's setting as the initial value that then gets populated and everything. So that's fantastic. That's great. But I shouldn't have to. And now I'm wondering whether, like, I got to do something like maybe, can I do something like values.light here and have fab form, oops, fab form, give me the value. This is all like disgusting, by the way. So like I should not have to do something ridiculous like this in order for this to work. Although now it does work. That sucks. So while I have learned something, I really haven't solved the thing I wanted to solve. See that, like, model is set, therefore I'm getting what I need. I feel like there's something here that I'm missing, something I'm not reading properly. I might not get to, I thought this would just be a throwaway. Okay, this we did. I thought this would be like a throwaway. Maybe I just, toggle, like mess about a little and fix it. But no. Let's see if it provides anything. Meta holds initial values. Let's see if this anything more about the initial value state here. This does something because, but yeah, we should not have to do that. And then we got our fab field here. We got our toggle. With some value. And because this value is not populated, this value here is true. Like field.value is true. But I feel like this is a bug. I feel like this is a bug in the library because if field.value is true, then vModel value on the fab field should also be true. Like you can't separate those two, right? The field component uses, I'm just got to read it out loud. The field component uses a different way to apply input values to your rendered inputs. Blah, blah, blah. Because of this, using vModel will conflict with vbind field. Okay. I think I did this last time. Oh, well, this is not gonna, okay, that's fine. What if I did vbind field here? I don't think this will do anything for us because I think I tried it the last time and this, it doesn't do anything. Because it's not binding anything here. And of course I can't do, vModel by using anything in here. And this kind of, represented it, but then it freezes. It says, hey, don't do this. Yeah, and then the thing is that field.value, and let me just get value as well. Value, like field value. And v is model value, let's say. So this is the model value, and this is the field value. In both? Okay, refresh, yeah. So field value is true and model value is false. There's no way for me to populate that. Isn't there though? Okay. Mount. Maybe there's like some on mount thing that I can get and say, oh yeah, on mount. Just, well, that doesn't make any sense. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean this actually legit seems to me like a bug in yeah, it's got to be a bug. I mean, which is obviously easy for me to say because it doesn't work the way I want. If FV is true, then MV should be true as well. And if this was then populating vModel with the value, then I should be getting it. Like there's no, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe this solution will come to me later. Like right now, definitely I don't have it on, if there is a solution to be had here. Right, the moment I start triggering it, boom, like you're in sync. You don't miss it. It's just the initial value. It's just the initial value. And there's no way for me to get that value. unless I did this dirty little thing here with, you know, this whole, you know, V modeling this with the values of the thing, which then works, but really that's no way. Like that's not right. That's literally wrong. Okay, I'm gonna spend maybe 10 more minutes and then wrap up, and you know, maybe the solution will come to me later. Okay. All right. Front, set field values up front, but this is on the form component. It's not on the field, and even if it was, so what? Maybe there's something in the examples that would give us a clue, because there's custom components. Like this is the custom component. We're using text input and doing all this business, and text input is just using an input, but handle change. Maybe there is a change happening. The question is, on initial value, does handle change trigger something? Because I would then need to map handle change, and maybe that's the fix. Okay, so let's see here. Field handle change. And mapping that onto the change of and handling blur. Well, there's no real blur. But because this is... see, I would have thought that because we did vbind here, that would have... That's implied. And that I don't need to explicitly do this. And I still think that's true. Like, that's... I don't think this will all of a sudden just work. Although it seems to now, right? No, because I did this. That's not... No, it's not real. I wish. Again, hoping the ordering does something, but it doesn't. Type hidden on change. Yeah, like vbind would have done that for me. Oh, motherfucker. Okay. Sorry. What? Okay. I think that's why they it's just... Sorry. If I do this, if I do make this a checkbox, right? And is just hidden. Oh, okay. You know, that if that value passed in because of then I'd be really upset. I'd be like, okay, maybe that's why that's why they were using something like a checkbox to do that. But doesn't seem like that is the case. Um, nope. Again, I guess what confuses me about this now is that this should be true. But because I have toggle here, this is like doing something. That's legitimately doing something to my no. Um, yeah, it's like that's not gonna work. That wouldn't work. Can you imagine? See, like this is true now, right? Like it is true on the initial run. Just this isn't. That would have been cool if the on change was somehow the thing that we needed to crack it. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have it. Maybe if I was using something like use field, then that would give me the value in the setup portion, and then maybe I could have done it. It's too bad. I legit thought I had this in the bag. Because then I would get initial value through use field. Yeah, something like this. And then be able to populate that into my value. That would do it. The other thing I could do is what if I did emit a value on mount? Then I guess I would have to make fab field into use field. Which I don't really want to do. I genuinely feel like there should be a solution to this problem where either it's a bug, or it's, like it's not a bug and it's supposed to be fixed like this. And if it is a bug, then yeah, I mean, I guess the only last thing to be like, oh yeah, it's a bug or not, is kind of it's for me to try something like, yeah, I don't even have toggle here anymore. Toggle's not here. And value is still false because there's no model value being passed in because that's the initial value. Because vModel takes precedence over the value in the form. So this is not a bug. This here is not a bug. So vModel is like, but then why is this true? And then if I was to submit this, what would light be? Would it be true or false? It's true because this is true. So then maybe this is a bug. Because then this should be false. But what if I explicitly said it's false here, right? I'm like, hey, it's false. You're false to start. It's definitely not required. Jeez. Okay. Okay. Then, yeah, then it might be a bug. Four, 5, 11 is what I'm using here. And let's just check here. 4, 5, 11. Let's see if there's a newer version. Nope. It's highly unlikely. See, the issue is it's highly unlikely that's a bug in the library. Just looking at this because, you know, like on unmount, I kind of wanted it to emit a value. So there is a handle checkbox change. Where before it was just checked value. See, even if it works here, it's not going to solve the issue broadly. If I was to say something like type equals checked or whatever. Mm. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's too bad. Like I spent about like, you know, an hour and a half here trying to figure this thing out, and not having figured it out is annoying. I'm kind of toggling between whether this is a bug or not. And it seems like it's maybe. And even there, I'm just a maybe because um, I guess I'm thinking that this should overtake anything, but it doesn't. I'm sure there's like probably something simple that I'm missing. That I'll, you know, I'll walk away and I'll come back and boom, like it will be apparent. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not making any progress, so I'm going to end it here. And if it occurs to me, I might just record it and hope that that works.